Let's continue taking calls at 617-830-4750. Let's go to our next caller from the 484 area code. Caller from 484, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Xavier, and I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Cool. What's on your mind today?
Well, I have a question regarding the death penalty. I
All
know
right.
that there are plenty of arguments against the death penalty, like the morality of it, and also to protect accidentally executing an innocent.
Mhm.
But I was wondering, what is your idea on that prisoners with the life sentence should have the option to request assisted suicide?
Well, the question is, should they have the right to request assisted suicide in circumstances where someone not in prison would not be able to request assisted suicide, right? Because you're not saying a prisoner who is terminally ill and has, for example, under 6 months to live, as some state laws say, requesting assisted suicide. You're saying any prisoner who has a life sentence could at any time say, I want to be killed, essentially. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Just like the idea that that that's at least an option you're giving, and just in case that there is an innocent, they're at least not being executed, and at least have that option.
Yeah, I'm against that. I think that if we're going to talk about assisted suicide, then there should be specific rules under which it can be done under a physician's supervision. And states that have legalized assisted suicide have established that. And generally, it's some sense of, doctors sign off, and there's a sort of, I think in some cases, a two-doctor consensus that this is someone who has no more than 6 months left to live because of a medical condition, et cetera. I don't think that there should be this sort of blanket where anybody with a life sentence can request assisted suicide. And now, Xavier, is there a difference in your mind if someone has the possibility of parole versus doesn't have it? Would this only be for people who do not have the possibility of parole, or for anybody with a life sentence, even if they could be paroled?
Well, I mean, I guess the reason I was asking is because it was also like the argument of whether what's worse, execution or life in prison, and that sometimes what stumps me too. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I happen to think that. So we've gotten mixed up with this in the past with some callers, Pat, where I don't actually think that we should determine whether or not to have the death penalty based on whether it's the worst possible punishment. That I don't think that that's the standard we should apply.
Or based
But
on what they want or don't
or
want,
based
too.
on what they want or don't want, right? However, I've said that if you support the
Yeah.
death penalty because you think it's the worst possible punishment, I happen to believe that life in prison without parole is actually worse. But I don't actually think that
Yeah.
that's a good way to decide whether the
Yeah.
death penalty should be legal or not.
Because it's completely subjective. I
Yeah.
mean, one person would prefer to just be incarcerated for their entire life. Another person would just want the easy way out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so Xavier, yeah, I'm against
Yeah.
that, but I do think that if you're in prison in a state that has legalized assisted suicide for medical conditions, you should certainly have access to that. All right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I like your show. Thanks for everything.
Thanks very much.